When it comes to narcissistic psychopaths, you are not going to win with tools of humanity. It is like taking a violin to a knife fight. Your ass is going to get stabbed repeatedly because they are a mind without empathy, without conscience, without guilt, humanity, reciprocity, and intrinsic valuation of others. But furthermore, a mind that views others solely as objects or resources to exploit is, by very definition of the word, a predator. No amount of kindness will give a predator a conscience. Predation, at its core, is about the exploitation of others for their personal advantage. It's viewing other living things primarily as resources to consume, regardless of the species or whether the predation occurs in the jungle or in your living room. Predatory behaviors are specific: target identification, stalking and pursuit, camouflage, deception, isolation, strike, and no remorse. No emotional attachment, just a ruthless, single-minded focus on the object of the hunt. A lion does this, a crocodile does this, a wolf does this, and narcissistic psychopaths do this. But here is what you need to understand about their brain and what makes their predation far more advanced than predation in animals, and, well, far more disturbing. Because they have cognitive theory of the mind. They fully understand you're a living, breathing being. They know you think differently than they do. They know you have beliefs that they don't share. They understand social norms. They know the difference between right and wrong. They can read you like a book while not giving two fucks about how badly your story ends. But it's not that they just don't care that they're hurting you. They hurt you in ways designed to maximize your confusion, your self-doubt, your psychological damage. They study what wounds you most deeply, and they strike there repeatedly. They make your suffering an art form. Where predators in nature don't have the cognitive capacity for sadism. Though a crocodile that drags you under is terrifying, but at least it's going to eat you. These people will drag you under, hold you there just long enough to make you think that you're drowning, pull you back up while pretending to save you. Then, just as you finally catch your breath, right back down into the water you go. Repeating this cycle for years. Because your terror, your dependence, your pain, your confusion, your disappointment, it gives them a victory for winning yet another round at their even more twisted rendition of psychological Squid Games, where they have chosen you to be the unknowing solo participant of identity murder, purely for their entertainment. You don't beat them by being smarter. You don't beat them by being more patient, more forgiving, more emotionally intelligent, or more resilient. You beat them by switching operating systems. You stop thinking like yourself and you start thinking like them. Not to become them, but to predict them, to block them, and to nullify them. There's a prison design concept called the panopticon, which is a circular building with a central watchtower. Guards can see into every cell, but prisoners can't see the guard or each other. The power isn't in constant surveillance, it's in the perception of constant surveillance. Narcissistic psychopaths build social panopticons. They position themselves at the center of the narrative web, controlling what every person in your life hears and believes about you, about them, and about each other. And the truly terrifying part is that most people don't even know that they're in the web. They think they're having independent thoughts, forming their own opinions, maintaining their own relationships. These predators have been quietly shaping every single perception, 360 degrees around you. Triangulation isn't just about isolating you. It's about keeping everyone isolated from each other so they can control the narrative with each person individually. Not because they're insecure, not because they're confused, not because they're afraid to be seen, but because controlling the narrative is the most effective way to control the entire environment they operate in. who is believed, who is sympathized with, who is supported, who is protected, who is blamed, who is punished. Reality is irrelevant to them. Interpretation is everything. That's why they don't just attack your feelings. They attack your version of the story. And they do it fast because they know one thing. Whoever speaks first decides the narrative. Whoever controls the narrative controls the field. They don't guess what hurts you. They calculate it. They don't accidentally push your buttons. They study them, memorize them, and weaponize them. The beginning of the relationship isn't bonding. It is reconnaissance. They gather your beliefs, your fears, your triggers, what embarrasses you, what you secretly hate about yourself, your moral framework, your attachment patterns, your family dynamics, your conflict style, your trust level, your thresholds, your emotional patterns. They learn to think how you think and how you think about yourself. They're cataloging every psychological vulnerability, every moral conviction, every relationship you hold dear, what you value most, what you fear losing, who you trust. And once they've mapped your cognitive architecture, your beliefs, values, self-concept, they turn it into a weapon against you from the inside out. It is psychological judo, using your own strengths and momentum to throw you into the ground. A wolf can't do this. A shark can't do this. Only human predators with intact intelligence can reverse engineer your morality and use it like a cage. Not because they're psychic, but because they've studied the algorithm of your identity. Their manipulation feels precisely calibrated to get under your skin because it is. You're fighting someone who doesn't know what you think. They know how you think. They craft individualized strategies that work specifically on how you think and how you think about yourself, while actually guiding your decisions. If you really believed in X, then you would do Y, where Y benefits them. You can't catch them off guard because your usual strategies don't work on them, because those strategies were already part of their map, which is why they seem so in control, because they anticipate your responses. They have counter arguments ready before you make an argument. When you resist, they have pre-mapped your resistance patterns. When you try to escape, they block the exit points that they know you're going to take. They become the author of your story using relentless enforcement of narrative dominance. Everything they say is a move. It's positioning, is a setup, is a strategic frame. Each line crafted to distort your identity, weaken self-trust, increase dependency, generate fear, enforce confusion, destabilize your reality, sever the connection to your own instincts. Gaslighting is a preemptive demolition of your credibility. Before you can tell anyone what they did, they've already convinced you that your perception is faulty, your memory is unreliable, your emotions are excessive. It's like a predator destroying the tracks before you can follow them back to the kill site. The goal, make you doubt your own reality so thoroughly that you stop trusting yourself. If you can't trust your own mind, you'll never challenge their narrative. Circular conversations are a preemptive way to exhaust you, trapping you in cognitive quicksand. You try to resolve an issue, the conversation loops. Point A leads to point B. Point B circles back to point A. You explain again, they misunderstand, repeat this bullshit for hours. They're designed to wear you down, fragment your thoughts, and make resolution impossible. Because when the brain is overloaded, it becomes suggestible. And that's when they plant their version of reality inside, editing the past, present, and future to control your interpretation of reality. And once they control your timeline, they control your identity, because identity is made from memory. Word salad, flooding the field with nonsense. They respond to your clear, calm point with, well, if you think about that triangulation and frameworks within the context of my childhood trauma intersecting with your codependent patterns, which, by the way, your mother is also exhibiting, and statistically speaking, wait, what? Verbal diarrhea thrown out to jam your radar. Big words, tangents, pseudopsychology, random accusations, sob stories, anything to blurry your point under linguistic rubble. The goal? Overload your brain so you can't maintain a logical thread. Like a squid releasing ink. By the time the water clears, you've forgotten what you're even trying to address. Deflection, changing the subject before you can finish or get answers to your questions. You try to address their behavior. We need to talk about how you screamed at me last night. They respond, oh, you're so perfect. What about when you forgot my birthday 3 years ago? This is a preemptive redirection. A smoke bomb thrown exactly where you're about to corner them. The conversation never lands on their accountability because they've already moved the target. The goal? To keep you chasing irrelevant threads while the actual issue disappears. Like a rabbit zigzagging, you exhaust yourself pursuing something that's always just out of reach, and the original point dies from neglect. Provoking reactive abuse is a preemptive role reversal. They needle, belittle, boundary stomp, and provoke privately, methodically, relentlessly. Then when you finally snap and yell, they point the finger and say, see what I've been dealing with? You're abusive. They orchestrate a situation where your normal human reaction to sustained torment becomes evidence that you're the toxic one. You're the problem, and they are the solution. It is reputational murder. They use repeated threats as a form of narrative control. If you put a frog in boiling water, it's going to jump. But if you put it in cold water and slowly heat it, the frog doesn't notice until it's totally cooked. That is exactly how threat conditioning works. Instead of gradually reducing your fear of something harmless, they're gradually reducing your fear of something lethal. Each repetition without execution trains you to treat the threat as background noise, right up until it destroys you. And the day that that threat becomes real, when they finally do pull the trigger, and they will, rest assured, literally or figuratively, your response is delayed, confused, inadequate, because they have conditioned you into a state of paralysis. The threat is the plan, repetition is the conditioning, and your dismissal is their strategy. Using triangulation, weave a web of animosity. They pit people against each other like puppeteers pulling strings. Sister versus brother, best friend versus coworker, you versus your entire support system. They're not just pitting you against them, they're pitting them all against each other. Splinter trust so that no two people compare notes. They remain the head honcho because a divided opposition is a defeated opposition. Turning allies into enemies so no one helps you and everyone sees you through their filter. Why it's so deadly is because it's not just isolation, it's narrative isolation. When you try to warn others, they dismiss you bitterly, crazily, defensively. Predators in nature create kill zones, places where their prey has nowhere to run. A pack of wolves will herd prey toward a cliff. Orcas will trap seals on ice. Narcissistic psychopaths do this with your social and psychological reality. All the while they smile at you, they set fire to your world behind your back. By the time you realize you need help, they've already isolated you from your friends and family through casual concerns and fabrications. They've controlled the finances, so leaving them means destitution. Created dependencies emotionally, socially, sometimes chemically. Positioned themselves as the victim in everyone else's eyes. So you try to run, there's a wall. You try to tell the truth, no one believes you. You try to get support, you have no one to turn to, and you're standing in a kill zone wondering how the hell you got there. And that is exactly what they want. It forces you into the weakest position possible, the position of defense. You become reactive, emotional, confused, discredited, self-doubting, exhausted, trapped in endless explanations, stuck trying to prove reality, begging people to believe you. Meanwhile, they sit back, calm, confident, grounded, because this is exactly where they wanted you and them to be. We're fighting the story while they're fighting nothing. You're drowning in correction while they're surfing on manipulation. You're explaining yourself while they're gaining sympathy. This isn't conflict. It is psychological warfare. And narrative control is their battlefield. They are not defending a reputation. They are architecting one. Because they know when the story is theirs, the consequences fall on you or anyone else. They're not just telling the first story to one person. They're telling the first story to everyone, customized for each audience. adapt their persona, present as exactly what each person wants to see. It's like being surrounded by funhouse mirrors. Every reflection is distorted. Every voice echoes lies. Every exit is a dead end. When every mirror reflects a different lie, even your own reflection becomes a stranger. Just like a shark doesn't roar before it attacks, it glides silently, like a shadow in the water. This is their 360 narrative control. And that is literally all they have. Strip away the narrative control and what's left? No genuine empathy, no real conscience, no authentic connection, no actual depth. They can't create. They can only mimic and manipulate. They can't love. They can only study and stimulate. They can't hold an authentic relationship. They can only control perceptions. But here's why one trick is enough, because most don't even realize they're watching a wickedly twisted magic show. And in social species like humans, where reputation, relationships, and perceived reality matter more than physical strength, controlling the narrative is controlling everything. You can't win a storytelling contest with someone who's been studying you like a doctoral thesis while you were just trying to love them. That realm is their apex. Every time you think, I'll document everything, I'll tell my therapist, I'll confide in my best friend, I'll catch them in a lie, I'll prove my point, is following a decision tree they have already designed around. And they will always justify their cruelty, their lies, their piss-poor behaviors. They never deviate. They never evolve. They never outgrow. They never wake up and one day think, I should be a better person, because they feel nothing when you break. What makes them catastrophic is that they have cognition, the awareness, the moral knowledge, and the social intelligence to know exactly what they're doing. And they choose to do it anyway. Only winning move truly is to not play. And what not playing actually means, it is recognizing the game for what it is, refusing to engage in debates about reality, accepting that closure or validation is not going to come from them, protecting your own narrative without worrying about their agreement, exiting when pattern is clear. They cannot operate without your reaction. It is the Achilles heel of every narcissistic psychopath. Their entire system runs on your confusion, your guilt, your fear, your curiosity, your explanations, your defense, your outrage, your desire for closure. Remove the reaction and their engine stalls. They can't generate emotional propulsion alone. They need your nervous system to do it. So provide them nothing, no emotion, no information, no rebuttal, no correction, no explanation. Let them underestimate you. Let them assume they still own your mind. Meanwhile, evolve quietly. Because once they no longer matter internally in your world, they no longer exist emotionally in your world. That is the real escape. Not walking away physically, but walking away emotionally, psychologically, internally. Because once that happens, they're not a threat. They're not a loss. They're not a wound. They're not a memory. They are just nothing, a glitch, a collapsed illusion. Because nothing you can do can make them something else. They are what they are. Your empathy will not save them. Your insight will not convert them. Your patience will not transform them. Your humanity will not awaken theirs. The only thing your humanity does is give them more to exploit. Their past is irrelevant. Their wounds are irrelevant. Their excuses are irrelevant. A diagnosis is irrelevant. What matters is simple. They destroy. Understanding why a tiger is aggressive doesn't make it safe. Empathizing with a shark's evolutionary pressure doesn't make it friendly. The cause does not change the outcome. The label does not change the danger. The origin does not change the reality. You don't need a label to justify protecting yourself. You don't need consensus from mental health professionals to trust your lived experience. If it walks like a predator, hunts like a predator, and leaves carnage like a predator, it's a fucking predator. Call it NPD, ASPT, psychopathy, evil, broken, whatever helps you conceptualize it. But don't let the debate over terminology delay your exit. A tiger doesn't care what you call it. It's going to keep mauling you. If someone is exploiting you without remorse, manipulating your reality, using your children as weapons, draining you financially, emotionally, spiritually, rewriting your narrative to destroy your credibility, your reputation, knowing why someone became a predator doesn't make them any less predatory. Some people cling to the why because they think if they can understand it, that they can fix it, heal it, save it, love it away, reason with it, appeal to some buried humanity. But you can't fix what isn't broken and who doesn't want fixing. They're not malfunctioning. They're functioning without conscience. And bringing humanity to an inhumanity contest is like playing chess while the opponent plays MMA, arguing facts with someone who controls which facts exist, seeking fairness from someone who sees fairness as weakness, expecting water to flow uphill. Not giving humanity to someone who is trying to destroy you is not inhumanity. It is the most humane decision you can make in trying to save yourself. And that, my friend, is what you deserve and is worth saving. So fight for you. Focus on you. Fuck the narcissist, or whatever you want to call them.